Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah and good day to all of our beloved viewers to the Voice of the Cape's YouTube page and the VOC's Facebook page. My name is Amir Adams and Alhamdulillah it gives me great honor and privilege to continue with this year's Voice of the Cape Matric Revision series and this year's Matric Revision series this year is being sponsored by the Two Oceans Graduate Institute, which is an online accredited institute whereby you can study to become a primary school teacher or a high school teacher by studying in the privacy of your own home. The Two Oceans Graduate Institute is this year's official sponsor for the Voice of the Cape's Matric Revision program for this year 2024. And if you'd like to find out more information pertaining to our sponsor and what they have to offer, you may contact them on their number, or you may also go on their website to find out more information. That is the website www.togi.ac.za, or you may call them on 021 829 7015. For today, we continue our Matric Revision session series, whereby we have the honor to engage with Mrs. Ni-shaat Dastagir, who is an English educator, and Ms. Dastagir will be going through content for English Paper 2 dealing specifically with Othello and specifically in Othello pertaining to symbols. So once again, we'd like to encourage all of the matriculants out there who are now, of course, preparing for the NSC exams to please ensure that you like this page on the Voice of the Cape's YouTube and Facebook page, and you ensure that you share this link with fellow matriculants who are going to prepare for the English exam. So without further ado, we hand over to Ms. Ni-shaat Dastagir to conduct today's session, inshallah. All yours, ma'am.
Okay. Shukran, Amir. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the Voice of the Cape Matric Revision classes. I am Mrs. Ni-shaat Dastagir, and today I will be carrying on with Othello, and we're going to be covering the symbols in Othello. So without further ado, let's go. Bismillah. Okay, so first, learners need to know and understand what symbols are in any given literary text. So a symbol implies a greater meaning than the literal suggestion, okay, and is usually used to represent something other than what it is at face value. So in other words, for the drama Hamlet, we have only one symbol, right, and that is Yorick's skull. So what is Yorick's skull symbolic of? Okay, and that is the question you need to ask yourself when you're engaging with your literary text. Okay, what are the symbols that are highlighted? Okay, or we are faced with, and so what do those symbols represent? Okay, so symbols are achieved, and they are achieved in various ways. So it can either be a character, it can be a color, it could be a movement, costumes, and props. Okay, so in the case of Othello, one extremely good and very popular symbol is the handkerchief, and this handkerchief that Othello gives to Desdemona as a token of his love for her. Okay, so remember Hamlet, Yorick's skull, right? What does Yorick's skull represent? And then in Othello, what does the handkerchief represent? Or what it is symbolic of. So symbols in Othello specifically, okay? So there are two significant symbols in the drama of Othello, okay? The one is the handkerchief. So Othello gifted Desdemona a handkerchief that belonged to his mother, okay? So that handkerchief is then seen as a symbol of Othello's love or his affection for Desdemona. And then we have the symbol of animals. Okay, so the drama is filled with animal metaphors used to describe Othello. And you'll note in the previous lesson how Othello takes on those animal roles, and he also refers to himself as an animal later on in the drama. Okay, so we're going to jump on into the symbol of the handkerchief. Okay, so the handkerchief is typically a symbol for a woman's romantic favor. So anyone who is interested in old movies, you will note that a handkerchief is normally a token of love. It's a love gesture. So women would typically drop a handkerchief, or they would hand over a handkerchief to a gentleman who they would seemingly be interested in. So the handkerchief as a symbol in this drama of Othello is 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 a sorry, I'm losing my words, is a symbol, right, for a woman's romantic favor. The handkerchief Othello gives Demona is a love token and therefore a symbol of their love. Okay, so remember this handkerchief means a lot to Othello because it was something that was handed over to him by his mother or from his mother. However, the handkerchief, which originally belonged to an Egyptian sorcerer, also come to symbolize the illusions that Iago is casting through his plotting and his deception. Okay, so who does this handkerchief initially belong to? How did it end up getting to Desdemona? And then when we look at it, we'll see that initially, or in the very beginning, it belonged to an Egyptian a sorcerer. Okay, so that also then later on symbolizes the illusion that Iago is casting through his plotting and his deception. Okay, so when we refer to Act 3, Scene 3, no, be sure of it. Give me the ocular proof. Now, in the previous lesson, we also spoke about ocular proof. The ocular proof here is the handkerchief. The handkerchief is a symbol of Desdemona and Othello's love. So Desdemona never goes anywhere without that handkerchief. Okay, so the one thing you need to remember is the ocular proof that Iago needed, right, to convince Othello that Desdemona is being unfaithful to him, right, is the handkerchief. The handkerchief is a symbol, right, of Othello's love for Desdemona. The next symbol is animals. Okay, remember the Barbary horse. Animals are used to describe Othello. An example of this is when he is described as a Barbary horse and Desdemona is described as a beautiful creature, right? And also your fair ram, your fair lamb, sorry. Okay. In each example, the animal language is seen as prejudice, particularly towards Othello, because in the Venetian society that he is a part of, he is seen as the outsider. He is the only black or Moor, okay, amongst the predominantly white Venetian society. Then we'll see this describing Othello in animal terms is a way of defining him as being less than human. Okay. Um, then also something or someone who deserves to be humiliated and controlled. So in other words, he is not deserving, or this is what the Venetian society thinks, that Othello is not deserving of Desdemona because she is seen as a purity, as white, right, as innocent. And so they use animal terms, right, in a way of defining Othello as being less than a human. Okay, and also they feel that he, as being who he is, he deserves to be humiliated and controlled, and he does not deserve to be the general of the Venetian society. So when we look at when we want an example of this animal references as symbolic of humiliation and control, we refer to Act 1, Scene 2. So run from your guardage to the sooty bosom of such a thing as thou, to fear, not to delight in. Here Othello is being referred to as something that is dirty, grimy, and filthy, right? This implies that he is more animal than human and is non deserving of love, especially from Desdemona. Okay, so remember the context, right? And why they think that he does not deserve um, Desdemona's love is because they feel that he is an animal. Okay, So remember two significant symbols in Othello, the drama Othello, is the handkerchief, right, which is significant or symbolic of Desdemona and Desdemona and Othello's love. And then we also have the animal, right? The animal metaphors that are used to refer to Othello, right? Because they believe that he is more of an animal and he doesn't deserve um, Desdemona. So, as an animal, right? They also believe that he, as a black man a part of the society, he also deserves to be humiliated and controlled. Okay, so the animal gestures, right, is meant to is symbolic of the Venetian societies trying to humiliate and control Othello. Okay, so I'm going to move on straight to the common questions in paper 2, right? So one of the most common questions in this paper is the question, place the above extract in context. So what this question comes across in can come through in the drama and in the novel section of the questions, right? So so this is almost like a guaranteed 3 marks for a learner who understands how to answer this question. So place the above extract in context. So you need to have knowledge of the plot of the drama or the novel that you are studying. Okay. So in other words, you have to have a good understanding of the plot. Then you need to know where exactly the given extract, right? So remember, when you um, answer the contextual questions, they normally give you a text or an extract from the novel or the drama that you need to read through first. Okay. So in in order to score the best marks for this question specifically, right, you need to have a good understanding of the plot, right? And then you also need to know where exactly the given extract fits in the drama or the novel. You are not required to say which act or chapter the extract is taken from, right? Because it is already given to you, so you don't need to say exactly where it's from. Markers want to see that you know the plot line. So this is one of those questions where they are testing whether or not you have actually engaged with the text. So markers want to see that you know the plot line. What? So this is how you approach this question. So in other words, you're going to tell us what happened just before and just after the given text. So the extract that has been given to you, right, that you need to read through, you need to be able to understand, have a good understanding of the plot line. You need to know exactly where the given extract fits in, and then you do not need to say which act or chapter the extract is taken from, right? Markers want to see that you know or you have some knowledge of the plot line of the drama or the novel. Okay, and this is what you need to do. You need to tell us what happened just before and just after the given text. You must not give any information from the given text. Your answer should focus on information just before the extract. Okay, so this is what you need to do always. So if you have a good understanding of what this question is asking you, you are almost guaranteed a 3 marks for your novel or your drama section or for the literature paper in general. Okay. The second question that is always also in the question paper is the question regarding stage directions. Okay, so stage directions will always be in the drama section. Okay, so please remember to stick to the drama that you have been taught at school. Okay, so stage directions: Othello, Hamlet, Crucible, right? Stage directions. So for stage directions, we often have learners referring to the body language, okay, but then they don't tell us about the tone. what the tone indicates or what the body language indicates, okay, about the actor or the performer. Right. So you must refer to the body language. So in other words, you must tell us explicitly, right, what the performer or the actor is doing with his hands, with his body. Okay. Remember, try to avoid saying things about facial expressions, because if you're sitting in a stage or in a theater, right? Remember, the audience cannot really see your facial expressions, right? So you need to say something about the body. So how, if you're telling me the tone, if you're telling me the actor is angry, right? Or the actor is hysterical, okay? What about the body language, right? Will show me that, okay? So body language, I will shrug my shoulders. I will, if maybe Hamlet is going crazy, he would be running around on stage, lifting his hands in the air. And this is how explicit learners need to be when they're telling us this, okay? So when they're telling us about the tone, then you tell us about the body language, and your explanation, okay, will also guarantee you those 3 marks. Okay. So remember, do not neglect it. Be specific, be explicit in your tone or in identifying or showing us stage directions when it comes to body language and tone. And then also explain. So you're going to tell me about his body. The tone shows me he's angry, right? What about his body language tells me that he's angry? And then you're going to explain to me why he is angry. Okay. And that will guarantee you your 3 marks. So then when you look at the place in and then you look at the stage directions questions, that should guarantee our learners at least 6 marks in the paper. Okay, because those two questions are a given, they will always be there. Okay. So another one thing that we are focusing on this a lot actually, because we find that learners struggle to actually answer a question, okay, or they answer it very vaguely, okay. Remember, I always tell my learners, and they'll probably take me to task for this, but there is not really a right or wrong answer for literature. Okay. Literature, we are testing your ability, we are testing a skill, your ability to either argue or discuss a given point, okay, or a question. So you must be able to argue it or discuss it very well. So, in other words, there's no real right answer and there's no real wrong answer. Your ability or the skill we're testing for is your ability to answer the question, refer to examples in the text, and to, to answer the question, to refer to examples from the text, and to then cement it, right, by by arguing or discussing your point very well. Okay, so this paper also ultimately teaches you how to formulate an opinion about certain um, themes in the novel or characters. Okay, so deconstructing the question. Okay, so you need to understand what is an instructional verb or word. Okay, okay, so the instructional verb or word basically tells you what you need to do. Okay, so when you comment on, okay, so in this case, our instructional verb is comment on. Okay, and when we comment on, you give information based on the facts to explain your answer. Okay, so that your instructional verb or word in this context is comment based on the facts, right, in the drama or the novel that you have studied, and you give those facts to explain your answer, or to explain or elaborate or substantiate your answer or your opinion. Okay, then also you need to understand what your restrictions are or what your limitations are. Okay, in other words, where do I need to go to? okay, in order to find the answer or the possible answer, or where do I find the evidence to support my opinion, okay, or to further explain my opinion, okay. Then also the content, okay, so what exactly am I commenting on? Okay, so what exactly am I commenting on and where would I find it? In other words, comment, restriction, limitation, and then content. Okay, okay, and here's an example of this. So your restriction, right, or your limitation, and you'll note that in most of your questions, right, they will always tell you to refer to lines 37 to 39. So you know now that your limitations or restrictions, or where must I go look? I must refer to lines 37 to 39. Okay. So that is your restriction or limitation. You don't go anywhere else, okay, unless they ask you to refer to the novel or the drama as a whole. Okay. So now in this, you go to your extract, you refer to the lines that they have given to or they referred you to, right? Then the question reads as follows, right? And they always, why has Othello been summoned to appear before the Duke? So what is your instructional verb or word here? It is why. Okay, so you must now tell me why Othello, right, was, excuse me, why Othello was summoned to appear before the Duke. Okay, so instructional verb is why, your content that you need to discuss, right? The content that you need to discuss is why Othello needed to appear before the Duke. Okay, so why has Othello been summoned to appear before the Duke? So when you get that right, right? So you understand what your instructional verbs are. You understand where you need to go look for it, right? Your limitations or your restrictions, and you understand the content. Then obviously you would be able to answer the question better. Okay. Just check here. Okay. So instructional verbal word when you comment. Okay. Oh my word, are we done? Okay. So then we have an example, right, of your restrictions and limitations and your deconstruction of the question. And then answering the contextual questions using the P method. Okay. So you are all familiar with this method of answering. Okay. Some of us also use the peel method. In other words, point, evidence, explanation, and then link it. So when you link it, you're linking it either back to the question or you're linking it to the next paragraph. So in this context here, we're answering the contextual questions by using the P method. So that is without the L, the link. We're using point, evidence, and explanation. Okay. So you first need to make a point. What are you telling us? Okay. What exactly are you telling us? Then you need to explain the point, and then you also need to provide evidence in your answer. Okay. So I always remind my learners, okay, when you are answering the question, don't be vague, be specific. Okay. So what exactly are you saying? I mustn't still be fumbling and asking myself, okay, now could this mean this or this mean that? Remember, you are arguing or you are discussing. Okay. So therefore you need to be clear in the point that you are making. So you make your point, you explain the point, and then you provide evidence in your answer from your drama or your novel to substantiate your point. Okay. An example, the one below that. So here you'll see refer to lines 20 to 26. So now both, so we now know that is our limitation. Okay, so in the extract, the given extract, we need to refer to lines 20 to 26. Okay, so the quote reads as follows: my service which I have reached. Okay, so here the question is, explain what these lines reveal about Othello. So now what exactly is our instructional verb or word? It is to explain. Okay. So now we know our limitation is lines 20 to 26. Our instructional verb is to explain and then what these lines reveal about the Othello. Okay, so explain, okay, what these lines reveal about Othello. Okay, so what does it show us or tell us, the reader, about Othello at this point in the drama? So here we'll see we're using the point evidence and explanation method, or vice versa, how you would answer this type of question. So Othello is confident in his abilities as a soldier, a general, and is aware that he has served the Venetian state with distinction. Okay, so in other words, he is confident. Othello is confident at this point in the drama, right? He's confident about his abilities as a soldier and a general in the Venetian army, right? And he's also sort of carried this abilities of him as being a general a soldier, right? He's carried it well or with distinction. Okay, so that's the point that I'm making. So exactly what I'm saying, point. He is also proud of his royal heritage and thus considers himself a suitable match for Desdemona. Okay, there you have your explanation. Okay. Evidence. He is dignified and displays self control. Now, you could actually go further and say that the point is yes, he is confident in his abilities. However, right, later on in the drama, right, he becomes insecure, right. He loses his ability to control himself, right, in in a dignified manner when he goes and he kills Desdemona without hearing her side of the story. So he's also proud of his royal heritage, and this considers himself a suitable match for Desdemona. Does Othello consider himself a suitable match for Desdemona later on in the drama? Okay, so I actually would like to go into something else if you'll just allow
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. On behalf of the Voice of the Cape, we'd like to apologize for the technical glitches and difficulties, inshallah, with the permission of our esteemed facilitator. We hope to end here for today, inshallah, and where the esteemed facilitator for today has to continue, then we will do so in the next session, inshallah ta'ala. Shukran, jazakallah khair.